Good morning.
Good morning. I see ya.
I'm going to change my background because I was doing some silly nonsense. There we go. And so I got that invite this morning and I had to go through and register and put the demographics in. Did you have to do that?
Yes, I did. Had a
Okay.
minor panic attack, but I
Yeah,
made
me
it work.
too. Me too. Okay. All right. So I want to practice
Okay.
sharing my screen just to make sure that we are. Um,
Sounds good. Welcome, Debbie and Tamara. Welcome. And I jumped on first, so I think I get the recording automatically. So.
okay, good.
Yep. So I can get it working on uploading it right after. There it
is. Okay, that looks pretty good. Can you see
Yeah,
it?
it's beautiful. Yep.
Okay.
I don't know why we have a random eye on the corner.
Oh.
I tried deleting it earlier, and I'm like, I think it's part of the graphic. But
Oh, maybe it is.
oh well.
Oh well. So you're gonna kick things off and then toss it back to me. Now, I think I will have to advance the slides, right?
Yep, that's all you. And I
Okay.
think most of my notes are in your slides.
Yes. Yes,
Like I have them in front of me, but they're
yeah, me too. I printed them off, so we're good.
Good.
I think we're good. And then I opened up all of our handouts, so I thought at the end I'd just show those so they can see what they will be receiving. Okay. And other than that, I think we're good.
Yeah. How's the weather up there or over there?
Well, it's a beautiful day today. It's supposed to be windy this afternoon, though.
Oh. Yeah, I've heard that too. It's nice over here too. We need rain. That's
we need rain desperately. It's supposed to rain some tomorrow, but I'm not putting much stock in it.
Fingers crossed, right?
Break. We need a safety break. So, and then I saw that extension. You know what that means is they really didn't get enough submissions.
Yeah, well, and I was in a meeting yesterday and I asked about, because they want a video. And I said, I asked why, because I'm like, I have to film that video.
Right, that didn't make any sense.
And they said they're doing it to advertise the programs. So like whatever we're teaching on, I'm going to explain my description of my class.
Okay.
So, for our class.
So just basically read your description with the camera on.
Yes, yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, do you want to co-teach it with me? As I was working on it, I'm like, I need somebody else. Oh, good. Sure. Okay.
Well, you know what? I absolutely.
Thanks. Hopefully we'll get in. But
so much for me. My goodness. Yes. Oh, hey, Tammy, you're welcome. Thanks for signing up. I was just talking about Southern Illinois yesterday. Boy, I miss going down there.
Oh.
Sad.
I know I'd like to go down there and do some more hiking at some point.
Oh.
But... yeah. Especially in the fall. I haven't been down there in the fall. I imagine it's beautiful.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Yeah, it's beautiful all the time.
Mm-hmm. Welcome all. We're going to get going in the next about 10 minutes or so.
Yep.
Aren't we all? Office or bedroom?
True. Yeah. It's easy. You'll like it. Sorry, I was responding out loud to a private chat. That's why I'm not
Oh.
crazy. Only a little bit crazy.
We've been having fun. Campus has been offering these online, like, extra little exercise sessions during lunch.
Oh,
They did a bonus one yesterday, and it was chair workout. Well, I have a ball chair in my office.
yeah.
So, I'm like, today I'm feeling it. My abs are a little sore.
Good for you. Yeah.
It's fun, though. It's getting everybody involved, and, you know, you could hear us throughout the office making sounds.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Is that through the wellness?
Yeah, that Minutes to Monuments challenge that campus is offering.
Deal.
Welcome, everybody. As you're joining, we'll get going here in the next 8 minutes or so. I feel like we need elevator music, Mary Liz.
I know. We should consider that. Some little entertainment or some little game
Right.
to type into the chat box.
Well, and it gives somebody so they know the sound works. But...
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we do have a couple of minutes. Why don't you type into the chat box where you're from, so we can kind of have an idea of how far our reach is going.
Yeah. Where are you located at?
Yeah. Wow, we're from the northwest to the bottom south. That's good.
Yeah. Welcome, everyone. As you're joining, we're going to get going in about 4 minutes or so. And if you want to put where you're from in the chat box, that'd be great. We'd love to hear where you're calling in from. Oh, Collinsville.
Well, this is good. This means our marketing did get around. So that makes me feel good.
Yeah, we got a good coverage of our state,
Good
which is
coverage.
awesome.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
It's just good to know.
Yeah.
Should I turn my camera off to present? Will that be less distracting if I do that? I'll say
I mean,
hi.
it's up to you.
And then I think I'll turn it off.
I think it's fine. Whatever. Seen it done both ways now. So
What I don't want is to watch myself. That is weird. It gets me all off track.
You're like, what is on my face?
Right, exactly. Stop moving.
Yeah. We're our own harshest critics.
We are, I know. I know that when I've shot like little videos with a laptop, I'll put a piece of paper over the screen.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you.
So I can't watch myself.
I don't like filming videos of myself. That's
I know. It's too hard. It's just hard to do.
Welcome everybody on this. Well, it's pretty cool in this part of the state, but well, coolish.
Yeah, we're still going to get up to, I think, 75 today here.
Yeah.
But then the bottom's going to drop out tomorrow evening. We're going to have another heavy frost, and I think fall is here, and that's okay.
Yay!
Even though mentally I haven't had summer because we didn't have any fairs, so I'm just all mixed up.
We're like, what is this fall? We missed the season.
Right? Yeah, we really did. One minute.
1 minute. I know, I'm watching my clock like a hawk over here. All right. So welcome everybody. This is our first of our Managing Diabetes webinar series by University of Illinois Extension. It is exactly 10 o'clock Central Time. So we're gonna get going. Before we do, and right now we're doing a great job of this, make sure that you have your microphones muted, prevent any background sounds, and make sure your camera is turned off. And we do that just so we have a really good, strong bandwidth today. All our webinars are being recorded, and they will be available on our website within about a week or so. That website is go.illinois.edu/nutritionwell, and I'll put it in the chat box here after I hand it over to Mary Liz. We encourage you to ask questions in the chat box as we go, and Mary Liz will address them at the end of her presentation. And we do ask that you please refrain from answering questions in that chat box and leave it to Mary Liz, just so we're providing you with the most up-to-date and the most research-based information. For those who don't know, the University of Illinois Extension is the flagship outreach effort of the University of Illinois at Champaign-Urbana. We offer research-based educational programs to residents of Illinois in all 102 counties and far beyond that. So just kind of an FYI of who we are. Alrighty, so my name is Lisa Peterson, and I'm going to be your moderator today. I'm a nutrition and wellness educator with the University of Illinois Extension. I work in Christian, Jersey, Macoupin, and Montgomery counties in West Central Illinois. And as you can see on our little map there, it gives you an idea of where we're located at. And your presenter today is Mary Liz Wright. She is a nutrition and wellness educator serving Clark, Crawford, and Edgar counties on the east side of the state. Mary Liz has over 20 years of experience with extension. And with that, I'm going to hand the presentation on over to Mary Liz.
Thank you, Lisa. And I just want to wave hello to everyone. And I'm going to turn my video off again to help with our bandwidth, and then also so that I'm not watching myself talk, which is very distracting. So let's begin. Maybe this slide's, oh, why did it, there we go. There we go. It's just a little slow today. And so thank you for joining us. As Lisa said, this is going to be a series about diabetes. And we're glad that you've joined us on this first session. And we assume that you have joined us because either you or someone you care about has been diagnosed with diabetes. Now what? How do you feel about having diabetes, or potentially having diabetes, or caring for someone who has diabetes? You can go through any gambit of emotions. It's all perfectly normal. So think back about when you were first diagnosed, or if you've had a recent diagnosis. Think about how did you feel? Were you angry? Didn't seem fair. Were you sad? Was it a little bit scary? All of those things are fine. All of those ways of feeling are fine. Perfectly normal. Don't beat yourself up because you're angry. You just might be even a little bit confused. We hear often that in the whirlwind of diagnosis, people can be absolutely overwhelmed and often not get all the information that they feel that would make them feel more comfortable. And so that's why we at U of I Extension offer these classes. And so hopefully, as you go through the series, you are going to end up with a good body of information that will help you navigate. So again, let's think about when you were first diagnosed. So it's kind of like you've had this dream. You've always wanted to go to Italy. In fact, you planned to go to Italy. You bought the guidebooks. You did the research. You watched the travel videos, and you booked yourself a flight, and you were heading to Italy. You were so excited. But just before the plane lands, you hear the pilot say, we're beginning our descent into Holland. You need to fasten your seatbelts and put your top table in an upright position, and we will be descending in Holland in a few minutes. And you call the stewardess over and you say, wait, I'm going to Italy. I bought my ticket to go to Italy. I watched all the travel videos. I'm supposed to be in Italy. And the stewardess says, well, I'm sorry, but we're landing in Holland, and that's where you're going to get off this plane. And so being diagnosed with a chronic illness is kind of like that. We don't prepare for it. Oftentimes, it just comes out of nowhere. It's not fair. You know other people who don't take nearly as good a care of themselves, and they don't have it, but you do. And you sometimes just want to stomp your foot and throw a little tantrum, and that's okay too. But at some point, we need to come to terms with this is how it is going to be. And we didn't get to Italy, but we landed in Holland. And what we need to do, even though our life has been turned upside down and we have this new diagnosis of a chronic illness, certainly not what you expected, but here we are. And what we need to do is to look around, because although Holland isn't Italy, Holland has windmills, and Holland has tulips, and there is beauty in every situation. So now what? What does it really mean to have diabetes? What's going on inside your body? What are your potential next steps? Well, we hope in this first session to give you a general overview, some definitions of what is going on in your body. We'll talk about setting some realistic goals, and we'll talk more about how you can manage this new world that you have entered into. What we won't do is we will not replace the directions provided by your doctor. We will not give you an individualized diet. But what you need to do is take the general information we're going to give you and then consult with your primary care physician or your diabetes educator. So what is diabetes? Diabetes is an illness. It is a disease. And what happens is your body is not able to make energy out of the food you eat, or it's not able to use the energy from the food that you eat. Insulin is a hormone that allows your body to take the glucose from your food and give it to the cells. When people eat, your pancreas automatically produces the right amount of insulin to move glucose from the blood into the cells. But in people with diabetes, the pancreas either produces little or no insulin, or the cells do not respond appropriately to the insulin that is produced. Glucose then builds up in the blood, and we know glucose is another word for sugar. It overflows into the urine and passes out of the body. Thus, the body loses its main source of fuel. So although you're eating, your body can't use the fuel that you're giving it. So another way to look at it is we have food, and through the digestive process, our body converts the food into glucose, which is, as I said, is a sugar. That's what our body uses for energy. And then the pancreas produces insulin, which then allows the cell to use the energy. It is a simple yet very complex process. Insulin, as I said, was made in the pancreas, and it acts like a key. It's what allows, it opens the cell to let the glucose in to make sure that the body can then have the energy from the glucose. If the body's unable to make enough insulin, then your blood sugar remains elevated in your bloodstream, and that's what we call diabetes. So who has diabetes? Lots and lots of folks. 29 million Americans have been diagnosed, but there's an estimated 86 million who have prediabetes. Many people don't know that they have it. In Illinois, about 12.8% of the population have diabetes. Yet they estimate there's an additional 341,000 who have diabetes and don't know it. When it comes to prediabetes in Illinois, 37.5% of the adult population have prediabetes. And diabetes costs an estimated $12.2 billion, that's with a B, in Illinois each year due to serious health complications such as heart disease, stroke, amputation, kidney disease, blindness, and death. So those are pretty staggering statistics. There are some issues that make us more at risk, and we're going to talk about these in the next few slides, but that little graphic there shows inactivity as we age, if we're overweight or obese, if there's a family history. Stress is also a contributing factor, something that we're learning more and more about seemingly every month or so. So again, who is at risk? Body type has a lot to do with it, studies have shown. And so measuring your waist circumference can be an indicator. We also talk about body type. You talk about the apple body type where you carry most of your weight above your hips, or the pear body type where it's below your waist or in your hips itself. And so a waist circumference is a good indicator of that. So men, if your waist measures over 40 inches around or women 35 inches, then that puts you in the risk category. Who also is at risk? Well, as we said, certain genetic groups. And so if you are African American, Alaskan Native, American Indian, Asian American, Hispanic, Hawaiian, or Pacific Islander, you are more at risk for diabetes. If you've had gestational diabetes at some point in your life, then you are more at risk to develop type 2 diabetes later on. And the less active you are, the greater your risk of type 2 diabetes. Physical activity is so important. It helps your body really operate much, much more efficiently. And then again, too, if you have any of these, what they call comorbidities or other contributing factors, such as cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, a low level of HDL, or a high level of triglycerides, a history of heart disease or stroke, and they're also finding out that if you have had a serious episode of depression. What are the symptoms? We've heard many of these: frequent urination, excessive thirst, extreme hunger, unexplained weight loss, numbness or tingling in your hands and feet, headaches, changes in vision, kind of a foggy mindset, fatigue, slow healing cuts or sores, or a high number of infections, or none of these. Many people have no symptoms whatsoever. Oh goodness. So how do you know if you have diabetes? The only way to really tell is through blood tests. And there are two blood tests that our medical professionals offer. And one is the fasting blood glucose test, where you don't eat or drink anything for 8 hours prior to that test. So usually you make that appointment and go to the lab first thing in the morning. The other one is the Hemoglobin A1C, and that one you can eat and drink normally. Usually they give you the fasting blood test first. Quite often, if you're above 45, that is just part of the standard blood panel of tests that are offered for your annual physical. So the fasting blood glucose. So now this is the one where you don't eat for 8 hours prior to, and the levels of the glucose in your blood are shown by testing the blood sample that they draw. And after fasting for 8 hours, if you have a normal situation in your body, the results are going to be less than 100. Pre-diabetes is going to be somewhere between 100 and 125, and diabetes is going to be 126 or higher. If you show a high blood test, they're going to probably have you come in a couple of days after and test you again, just to make sure that it's not just a one-time abnormal test. So the hemoglobin A1C, and this is a very accurate test. And when I do diabetes classes, I'll often say, anybody can be vigilant with their diet for a few days before a fasting blood glucose test. But the A1C is actually a very true determinant of what's been going on in your bloodstream for the last 3 months. And the reason it's 3 months is because that's the lifespan of a red blood cell. And so what this test does is it can track what's been going on with your blood cells for the last 3 months. So it's a very accurate, very true test, and it measures the percent of hemoglobin A1C in your blood. And so if your glucose is less than 5.7%, it's normal. 5.7 to 6.4 is pre-diabetes, and 6.5 or higher is considered diabetes. And this will be discussed as we go further in our series, but just to give you an overview. We're talking in this series really about type 2 diabetes. We used to call it adult onset diabetes. Now we're finding younger and younger folks diagnosed, but just to hit on the fact that there are two types of diabetes. One is called type 1. We used to call it juvenile, but usually it's diagnosed at a younger age, but anyone can develop it. And this is where your pancreas does not make any insulin at all. It can be managed, thankfully, with insulin, and the folks have to also watch their diet and their physical activity. Type 2 diabetes is that your body might be making some insulin, but your cell receptors don't work. You know, it's just not efficient in opening that cell up so the glucose can be used as energy. And we might start out with the insulin resistance, where you're making the insulin and it's just not getting into the cell, and then eventually the pancreas kind of says, well, I'm tired of this, and it slows down its manufacture of insulin as well. So I'm going to try and show a video that illustrates this in a good way to show you really what happens in our bloodstream. So cross your fingers. Let's hope this works.
Mary Liz, is it playing on your end? Because we're not seeing anything over here.
Oh no! Oh shoot! I wonder why. Oh, gosh dang it. Well,
did you move it over?
I
don't know if you have it on another screen.
Yeah, I bet it did. Okay, hang on.
No problem.
All right, so let's give this another try. I think what I needed to do, let's see. Okay, let me go back. I bet if I did, so since it's part of the PowerPoint, I'm going to say new share. Now can you see it?
Not the video. We see the image.
You see the image. Okay, let me click on the video. Let me say,
if it opened in YouTube, you may have to share your desktop.
Can you see it now?
Yep.
You can? Okay, let's start at the beginning. So we're good?
Is there sound with it?
Yes.
We don't hear it.
Okay.
And you'll have to change it to on the view options, and you should be able to add your own audio or add your computer audio.
And where would that be? Under
Leave up top.
Video settings.
Yes. You want to share your audio, so go down to audio. Sorry guys, we're giving you a little bit of a Zoom lesson.
Sorry about that. Yeah. Okay. So we go down to my audio on my computer. No.
Where you were open. Go back to where you were open.
Okay. Video settings. Okay.
And there's an audio button next to that.
Yes.
And there should be an option to share your audio.
Automatically join audio, mute my microphone, press and hold sync buttons. Use separate audio device? No, that can be right.
That's okay. If we don't have audio, it's not a big deal.
Oh,
it's got text with it.
Yeah. Can you hear me talk over it?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, well, maybe we'll just do that. Sorry about this, folks. This is our life now. Absolutely.
Thanks for all who are sticking with us.
Yes. All righty, let's start. Okay, so
you want to make it full screen? There we go.
And it actually, the little captions below are saying exactly what she's saying.
Oh, you can actually do, when you share your screen, you can click the audio.
So the little round balls are sugar. And the little green triangles or diamonds are insulin. Okay. Well, that was fun. So now, thank you so much for your patience.
I did put in the chat box, I shared with everybody the YouTube video you can go and watch if you'd like to watch it with the sound.
Yes. And so, yeah, she mostly typed underneath what she was saying anyway. And it just illustrates the fact that actually it's an oversimplification, but when you think about it, when they do that blood sugar test or the blood glucose test, that's exactly what they're looking for. Sugar is floating around in your blood, and it's that sugar that eventually does damage to your circulation, to your other organs, because we just weren't made to have that glucose in our system for so long, when actually it's supposed to be going into our cells as fuel. And so that's an oversimplification, but it actually is exactly what happens. All right, so throughout this series, you're going to hear what diabetes is a few times, and we're going to be continually talking about how do we manage. Here we are in Holland. What are we supposed to do? What does successfully managing your diabetes mean to you? So why don't you take a minute or so and type that into the chat box. What does it mean? What does successful management mean to you? I'll give you a minute or so to think about that. Does it mean, do you approach it as a student in that you want to get a perfect score on all of those tests? Having energy, yes, that is one of the symptoms that, and when you think about it, if you do have the glucose in your blood, the sugar in your blood, that is making your body work harder without getting any fuel. So that's why you're sluggish. Normal life, right. And I thought I only had to cut out sugar. It was so much more. Absolutely stress. And as I said at the beginning, the scientists are learning so much about what stress does to our bodies, to all the systems of our bodies. Right. Yeah. Uh, does it mean to being able to work, to continue with your physically demanding job? Sure, it can be done. Do you want to feel good enough to exercise with your friends? Do you want to be able to just enjoy dessert every now and then? You know, diabetes education has come a long way in that it used to be, oh my gosh, you are never going to have another dessert again. You are never going to be able to eat carbohydrates again. And what scientists have found is that it's all about balance. It truly is all about balance and excuse me, and navigating this new world. The last comment, managing routine rather than having to think about it at every moment. I do hear that a lot from people, that it becomes kind of like a part-time job, and that you're always in the back of your head. Oh, I ate that, so what's that going to do to my blood sugar? And it's constantly there. It is constantly there. There's no way to get away from it. So self-management, really, you're in the driver's seat. What we hear over and over again from folks is they had their initial diagnosis, they met with the doctor, they might have met with, if they're lucky, might have met with a dietitian, and then they send you home, and you're in this whole new world, and I call it Holland, and you don't necessarily speak the language, and you really don't know what you're supposed to be doing. And really, that's unfortunate, but that's where people like us at U of I Extension come in, and hopefully we're giving you those tools so that you can manage this new world for yourself. And that really is the key to moving forward, to having those normal activities that you were talking about. So why do you think self-managing your diabetes is important? How will self-managing your diabetes with food and exercise benefit you? So we kind of touched on those two in the last slide. So, and you might want to just jot this down. You don't have to put this in the chat, but what do you think you do well? If you want to put it in the chat, by all means, please do. And then, in what area do you think you could improve? Well, that's kind of a standard question. I almost feel like I'm judging a 4-H project. If you could do this over again, what would you do differently? But honestly, that's our world. We get up every morning. It's a brand new day. We might have had some challenges the day before, but when our feet hit the floor tomorrow morning, it's a clean slate, and we can begin again. Absolutely. And we're all human, and it's a journey, and it's not an easy fix by any means. So a couple of those self-management tools that we talk a lot about are meal plan management. And people can choose different methods to plan their meals. The important thing for someone who has diabetes is to maintain a healthy level of glucose in their blood at all times, so that your cells have a constant source of energy. What we don't want to do is skip meals or save up, as you will, for that event tomorrow. So we don't want to go without eating all day today so we can have that chocolate cake tomorrow. It's all about balance, and some people find that the plate method works really well for them. the My Plate graphic, or the Idaho plate method for people with diabetes, and you'll see this looks a little different than the My Plate. And so we want half of our plate to be those non-starchy vegetables. And the other half of our plate, 1/4 of it can be a starch. But you'll notice all of those things that are lumped in together. It's not just grains, it's not just bread, not just potatoes, but it's peas and corn and beans as well. So we have to take those starches, those carbohydrates into consideration. And then again, our source of protein should be a lean protein. Fruit is also important when we are managing our diabetes. If you'll think about the new FDA nutrition facts labels on foods, have an added category called added sugar now. And the reason that was included in the nutrition facts is they used to just state carbohydrates straight out. And people were concerned because fruit does have a fairly high amount of natural carbohydrates or natural sugar, and people were eliminating fruits from their diets. And if you know anyone on some of those fad diets where they're extremely low carb, some of the keto diets, they will eliminate fruit. And fruit has so many benefits for us, from a phytonutrient and antioxidant and anti-inflammatory and fiber and just all sorts of good things that are associated with fruits, that you don't want to completely eliminate them from your meal plan. And so they're included here for an important reason. And then also we include dairy. Dairy does also, kind of like fruit, have some naturally occurring sugars. It has lactose. So when you're reading labels, anything ending in OSE is going to be a sugar. But again, milk and dairy products are very important in a healthy meal plan, in that they, of course, help with our bones and our teeth. And there are also studies showing how important calcium is in your circulatory system, in your cardiovascular, in making a healthy heart. So also very important. Other folks prefer to do more of a carb counting, and they used to call them carbohydrate exchanges. Now they're called units or choices. And if you'll look here, what they're doing in that table is trying to get approximately the same amount of carbohydrates in each meal. And that achieves that steady balance of glucose in your bloodstream. And so, for example, 3 carbohydrate choices. Well, one choice is considered 15 grams. And so for each meal, you're getting roughly 45 or so grams of carbohydrates. And that's what's keeping it constant. Also look at the snack. And snacks are certainly allowed, but it is recommended that you combine a protein with a carbohydrate. And it's been found that in your metabolic synthesis of those nutrients, it keeps things a little more well balanced. I'm kind of not puzzled, but I kind of chuckle when I see the breakfast that's on here. And this is the classic breakfast I hear from people all the time. I don't know why my sugar spiked. I ate breakfast. I thought it was a healthy breakfast. And they'll have a soggy cereal, milk, and a banana. That's kind of a classic breakfast. And really, from a carbohydrate standpoint, they were well within their allotment, but there's no protein there. And so it can cause a little bit of an imbalance. And so every time you eat, we recommend that you have some protein as well. Although, I know there's protein in milk, but 4 ounces isn't very much. And so those are just a couple of examples in your self-management of diabetes. So we're going to share with you a placemat or a small mini poster at the end that also illustrates this notion. In addition to meal management, physical activity. We can't stress this enough, how important it is to be active. And really, anything counts. We say that you need 150 minutes per week or half an hour a day, and we're talking moderate activity. You're not running a marathon, but the good news is it can be broken up into small increments. Take 3 10-minute walks a day and you've got it. Cleaning. We don't really want to hear about that because I don't know very many people who like to clean, but it also counts as good moderate activity. If you are vigorous in your cleaning, if you're scrubbing, if you're reaching up and washing those windows. You can also do organized exercise. You see those ladies there with their stretchy bands and they're increasing their flexibility. Gardening also counts, and how wonderful is it to have that outdoor activity, get some vitamin D, make something beautiful, plant flowers, or plant a vegetable garden that you can share with neighbors or feed your family. And so, as I said, really, it all counts. What we don't want to do is just sit. So get up and move. In the winter, if you can't go outside and walk, well, then set up a path around your house and set up some chairs, walk around your table, that sort of thing. It doesn't take a whole lot to get that activity in. And so when we're talking about activity or even our meal plans, we want to be able to set goals. Because if you just say in general, oh, I want to be healthier. Well, we all do. But how are you going to do that? So we need to hold ourselves accountable. And we recommend setting what we call SMART goals. And a SMART goal, SMART is just an acronym for specific. And so instead of saying, I want to get healthy, you need to say to yourself, I want to be more healthy by walking more. Okay? Well, then it needs to be measurable. So how long are you going to walk or how far? So I want to get healthy by walking 10 minutes a day. It needs to be attainable. So we're not going to, on the very first day, say, I'm going to go out and run 5 miles. Would that be realistic? Is that attainable? Probably not. And so by attainable, we want to set that goal so that we can achieve it. We don't want this to be an impossible goal. So it's measurable. So I'm going to walk for 10 minutes. Attainable says that I'm going to walk for 10 minutes 3 days this week. Relevant. Well, it's relevant to my condition because I have read that physical activity is important in managing my diabetes. And time-based. I'm going to walk 10 minutes and I'm going to do it 2 or 3 days this week. So it needs to be very specific and attainable. So how are we going to do that? We're going to start small so it's easy to manage. Like I said, we're not going to climb Mount Everest tomorrow. We're going to start by maybe walking around our neighborhood. What are some steps that you will have to take? So if I set the goal of walking for 10 minutes for 2 or 3 days this week, what will I have to do to achieve that? Well, I'm going to have to make sure I have comfortable walking shoes. We were also talking this morning in my office about exercising, and I am an early morning exerciser. And when I first started exercising, I had to lay out my exercise clothes so that I could not avoid them when I got out of bed. So I make it hard not to. That's what you can do as well. So make sure you have the shoes you need or the equipment you need or the clothing that you need, and make it easy. Make it easy to put those shoes on. Again, that's all part of those resources. You need the shoes. How will you track your progress? Well, a lot of people like those fitness trackers and they're fun, and I use one, and I will tell you that it really does hold me accountable. But you don't need to go out and buy one of those. You can just say, set your timer and say, I'm going to walk for 10 minutes around my house. And when the timer goes off, you're finished. So then you can have your calendar on your refrigerator, on the wall of your kitchen, so that you put down Monday, walked 10 minutes. Another thing that also helps is, oops, my goodness, is having someone to encourage you, having a buddy, having an accountability partner, but even more so than that is just having a friend to walk with or to talk with while you walk. When I get a phone call at work, I will take my phone. We've got a big banquet room in the back of our office, and I will walk laps around that banquet hall while I'm talking on the phone. I find that I walk a little faster when I'm doing that. And it's encouraging to me that when I finish that phone call, not only have I shared some news with a friend or solved a problem or what have you, I have usually accumulated several hundred steps in the process. So that's a bonus. So again, here are some examples. So you might set the goal of walking 10 minutes a day, 3 days this week. That's specific. That's measurable. It's attainable. It's relevant and time-based. Eat four foods from the fruits and vegetable groups each day. That's also measurable in that you can keep track of what you eat. You can write that down. Losing 4 pounds over the next 30 days, that's a little less specific, but if you do these other two, it's going to be much more easy to attain that 4-pound weight loss if you are consistent with your other goals. Now, should you have 3 goals at a time? Probably not to start. I would start with 1. Whatever is easier for you to attain, either the activity or the meal planning. Sometimes if we start too many things at once, we have a tendency to be overwhelmed and then we stop doing it. So it's important to be honest with yourself. Actually think about, what can I do? What can I do starting tomorrow? Well, let me write that down. And then when tomorrow comes, let me make sure that I have the resources that I need, that I understand what it's going to take for me to achieve that goal. And then when I've achieved it, make sure you write that down so that you are looking at your calendar at the end of the week and say, yes, by golly, I did walk 3 times this week, and I am proud of myself. We also recommend that you join a support group if there's one in your area. I was doing a little searching yesterday, and there are even some online groups. So call your local extension office, your local healthcare, diabetes educator, or your local health department. What we have found is that the sense of community that builds up in these diabetes support groups are invaluable for encouraging one another and answering questions and really helping us along this journey. Because when you join a support group, people are at different stages of their journey with this chronic illness. And so maybe you've just been diagnosed and it's all completely overwhelming and you are grasping at straws on how to navigate this new world. Well, when you join the diabetes support group, there's going to be someone in there who's had it for 5 or 10 years, and they're going to be able to say, okay, this is what worked for me, might not work for you, but I'm here to tell you that if you take these small steps, you're going to end up on the other side and in a very, very good spot. So in summary, diabetes is when the body is not producing enough insulin or is unable to properly use the insulin it makes. There are several risk factors. We talked about those. Self-management is the key to successfully living with diabetes. In our society, we like an instant fix. We like to take a medication and be done with it. And with a chronic illness, it just isn't quite that easy. So us taking responsibility and making those small changes. Like I said, you don't have to run a marathon. Making small incremental stages, making those choices every day can make a huge difference in our quality of life. And I want to tell you is, you've got this. You can do it. Take those small, smart steps. Start tomorrow. Be consistent. Don't overwhelm yourself. Small steps first. But also be kind to yourself. You're not going to hit a home run every day. But if you slip up and make a mistake, don't beat yourself up. Be kind. And remember, this might not be Italy, but Holland has those beautiful tulips. All right, so we're going to be giving you a handout. So don't feel like you have to write these down, but we just wanted to share with you some sources that the U of I offers. We have 2 separate sites that share with us good recipes for diabetes-friendly dishes. You can also find some videos with some of those diabetes-friendly recipes. We post on Facebook at University of Illinois Around the Table. We also do Instagram and Twitter. We also offer an extending wellness program where you can get text messages 1 to 2 times a week. And you can find that at goillinois.edu/wellness tips. And I think Lisa might be able to put that into the chat. And I don't know, Lisa, you probably want to be sharing this, but you'll receive an email following today's presentation that includes a survey. Please fill out that survey. Then you will receive a follow-up email in 7 to 10 business days with today's handouts. And I'm going to show you the handouts here as soon as I close this out. But please join us next week, next Wednesday, October 21st. The subject will be Choose It, Count It, Eat It, same time, 10 a.m. And what Susan Glassman, who is another nutrition and wellness educator, is going to be going more into depth about choosing your meals, counting the carbohydrates, enjoying eating. And she's going to dive into meal planning and counting carbohydrates. And so she will be giving you some good tools and tips in order to navigate your meal plan experience. All right, so I just wanted to share our handouts really quickly with you, if it will allow me to do that.
Mary Liz, while you're doing that, we did have a couple of questions that came in.
Okay, good.
So I wanted to make sure that we
fire away.
All right, so somebody asked how much of a goal is enough and how much is too much. So for example, walking, what
I think that depends on the person. Honestly, if I'm having trouble sharing my screen. Anyway, everybody's different and your tolerance level is different. I think the important thing is to not, if you're not used to walking at all, let's say you are not active at all, I would start with no more than 5 to 10 minutes. Because if you're all gung-ho and you get out there and you walk a mile, let's say, you're out there for a half an hour, really, really working up a sweat and exercising, and it feels great while you're doing it. If you're not used to that, the next day you're going to be so sore, you're not going to want to exercise. And so start with small enough increments so that you can achieve it. And not just for today or tomorrow, but for every day thereafter.
Yeah, you never want to go gun-ho.
Right,
thing. You talk about 150
yeah,
minutes,
that kind of,
exactly.
It kind of sets you up for failure.
Yeah, start small.
Yes.
Okay, and the other question we had asked was, will we be talking about ways to manage or have a positive impact on the dawn phenomenon?
And what's that?
the dawn phenomenon.
Yes.
The rising of blood sugar. And that was something I don't think Mary Liz addressed it, but we can bring it back to the team and make sure in the future we do talk about it in our webinars coming up. So, but thank you for that input.
The DON or DAWN?
DAWN. Dawn.
Oh, right. Yeah, that the phenomenon of the spike in the blood sugar when you first get up.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and yeah, we'll probably address that later on, but the way it's been explained to me is that your body is getting ready for the day. And so sometimes some people show a spike when they first get up. What I'm sharing right now is that poster that I told you about. It's very, very simple, has a nice graphic, but then it also shows you some servings and some real handy meal plan information there. And then I also wanted to share with you, these are some additional resources that we're going to share with you, cookbooks and other sources of information and meal planning tools. So you're going to be getting all of those. And then lastly, if I can, our handout that also has super information in it, some practical testing, just pretty much basically everything we went over in the PowerPoint. All right, and you will get those in a week or two after you filled out the survey. So don't panic, they will come. Again, so other chat questions. Are we good?
Let's see. I don't think I see any more in here. But yeah, thank you for everybody who joined us. And please join us next week as we start talking into meal planning and carb counting and that information. Thanks to Susan, who will be speaking on it. And again, you are going to be receiving a survey at the end of after we log off today.
Right. It's going to come via email.
Yes. Yep. We highly, highly encourage you to fill it out. And again, if you had to jump out, like obviously if you jumped out, you won't be hearing us. But if you had to miss any part of today, I would suggest we are going to have a recording available of this, and we will have that on our website within the next couple days here. And that is, again, go.illinois.edu/nutritionwell. And that is in the chat box. And you can click in, kind of scroll down and see our previous webinars.
And if you have friends who say, oh, daggone, I intended to sign up for that, they can listen to the recording. They can also register for any subsequent series. This isn't a one-time offering. You can join at any time. Is it best if you come to all the sessions? Of course, you're going to get more information, but we don't want to exclude anyone. As long as they're wanting to know more about diabetes, that's what we're here for. So thank you all very much for joining us. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your comments. And I just like to wish you all well. As we said early on, either you or someone you care about has diabetes, or you just want to learn more about it. And we appreciate you seeking that information out through us. And that's what we're here for. So contact your local extension office. We're here for you. Go to our website and join us for the other sessions. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.